Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody have you here,
Not
Coach
a
Paul?
day.
What a day it was. What a day it was indeed. Welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. This is your first time here. The goal of this session is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets you have not traded before. Today, we are going to be talking about markets that each and every one of us have traded before. Uh, our goal as traders is to identify opportunities, see how we can take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. This is our first time meeting. I'm Coach Jay, been a top step performance coach since June of 2023, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some experiences, some wisdom, and hopefully help you become a better trader.
Thank you for that. You are all our chat, our audience. Thank you for joining us each and every day that you do. We appreciate you. We could not do this show without you. We had that risk disclosure posted at the top of the chat. Shout out to Coach Hoop. Anything we say here is for educational purposes only. Uh, for educational purposes only, not any trading or investment advice. Elvin in the chat says, "We sold off all day." There's your recap. We got you. Today was a really interesting day in the markets. Really, really interesting day. We had Nvidia earnings yesterday. We saw that watch party. It looked like Nvidia saved the world until it didn't. So we will definitely cover that. We did get some economic data out as well. Before the open, we had unemployment rate coming at 4.4%. Forecast was 4.3. We had a non-farm payroll come out at 119,000. Forecast was 51,000. Initial jobless claims came in at 220K. Forecast was 227. U.S. average earnings year over year came in at 3.8%. Forecast was 3.7. Existing home sales came in at 4.1. Forecast was 4.08. And Coach Paul, it feels kind of weird talking about news, especially planned numbers at the beginning of this. We haven't heard numbers like this in a long time.
Boy, and I don't know if the news moved it, but the key point is I'm seeing some great comments here. If flat P&L
Yeah,
on a day like today,
could be flat.
that's really good. Today is to me is account buster day if you're not disciplined in your risk management. So I'm seeing a lot of comments there and great job. Um, you can't catch everything, right? But man, staying out of trouble on a day like today is that's an accomplishment.
Yep.
Now there was a slurry of news, and boy, did it look bullish on the beginning of the day.
Yes, it did.
Weren't we 600 higher?
Oh, we were. Yeah, like I said, it looked like it was all good. Everything's all good with the world. Nvidia has us. It's going to take us to the promised land. We're going to new all-time highs. It looked pretty good until it didn't. I think we were about 400 higher, 400 points higher in the Nasdaq.
Yeah.
Settlement was what price was settlement? Was it 720, 721?
I can tell you one second.
24, 721, and the orders. Yeah, so we were. Yeah, you're right. 600 points higher. 600 points higher at that high. Um,
1,200
and
point range in the Nasdaq.
insane. High to low move, and we made new lows on the close. High to low was about a 5% swing in the Nasdaq, right? If that was all in one direction, we'd be talking about circuit breakers and all this other stuff on a day where once the Nvidia headlines came out and the news came out, there wasn't a headline. Um, what causes a 5% move in that direction? We don't know, but we can say it uh, confidently: more sellers than buyers. More sellers than buyers. Let's take a look at the quote board here. We have 36 different markets we can trade with Top Step accounts today. To the downside, we have platinum down 2.58%, micro Bitcoin futures down 2.68%, and heating oil, our biggest percentage mover to the downside, down 4.3%. Why does micro Ethereum keep leaving this list? Because micro Ethereum was down 2.95%. Let me hit the save button there. To the upside, we had the 30-year bonds up 0.4%, the ultra bonds up 0.44%, and Lean hogs, our biggest percentage mover to the upside, up 0.86%. When we're talking about ultra bonds and the 30-year being our biggest percentage movers to the downside, you know that there was a lot going on today. Sorry, to the upside. There was a lot going on. To talk about our big four, we had crude oil down 0.89%, the S&P down 0.161%, gold down just a tenth of a percent, and the Nasdaq, our biggest percentage mover to the downside, down 2.54%.
Wow.
Again, 5% move from high to low in the Nasdaq on the day, and it's continuing to sell. We're making new lows as we speak. Um,
Well, on that daily, we have an engulfing candle. It
yes, we
took us,
did.
what, 3, 4 days, considering that it was 600 higher. This is to me, this is complete rejection.
Yep.
Um, they got the news they wanted on many different fronts, and we got some. We can go over. We got some buying early, and boy, it looked good. But it goes back to this: we're day trading. In your day trading, is the core is risk, and you know when it turns around like that, it can be really hard to either just get out or change because your expectations are anchored to, wow, this is good. I know I've done it in the past.
Hmm.
Um, it's being, but one thing, we got new information, not in news, but in market structure. And we'll go through that in a minute.
Absolutely. So the October 10th candle, we all know that is the one we've been talking about since it printed. That was the most recent aggressive sell off that we had. That was a 5% down day in the NASDAQ. Today's range was about that same range, uh, almost the same exact size of that candle. Uh, let's measure that actually. And today was more volume. Today was more volume to the downside. This candle was 1,224 points, and today's candle was
1200.
1,230. So closed outside of that range, couldn't test the high up here in the Nasdaq. And I saw a comment here from Josh. Average Josh says it's wild how hard it is. It is wild how hard it actually is to trade something like this. When you look back, it looks obvious, but yeah, right. We want to talk about that, right? Because on a day like today, somebody might have made, and I saw somebody else in the chat, and shout out to you. You might have had your best trading day in your life today. We are talking about two candles in the last 30 trading days that had this type of range. What happens sometimes here is if you catch this move, the exception becomes the expectation. Now, if I try to look to mirror that biggest trading day that I've ever had, the market conditions may not facilitate it. So now I'm doing things that are trying to reach a goal that is almost unfeasible unless I leverage up. And we know how dangerous that is, right? So if you had a great trading day today, props to you for holding on to a trending market because that's exactly what it presented. And you did your job as a trader. But understand that that came from you following a process and then the market rewarding you for following that process, right? And not, hey, does that make sense, Coach Paul? What I,
Uh, yeah. Well, there's following a process
Mhm.
gives you continuity to success.
Right.
And there are two different trades that the, the each each day is its own trade,
Right.
but that's what we deal with is uncertainty.
Mhm.
Um, and on a day today, and I'm going to go like this: if you lost $100 or $200 buying this, you're a
You
darn
won.
good trader.
You won.
Yeah, yeah. And if you blew it out today, don't despair.
Mhm.
Learn. I I from my experience, that's why you hear me say I have a 12% cutoff of my equity,
Yep.
and I'm done. It just doesn't happen. Because I number one is preserve capital. What does that mean? The capital in your account. When and you're going, by the way, let's give a one if you've ever blown up an account on one day. Well, probably, I think everybody I've known has
Yep.
done that.
One in the chat if you blown up an account in a day. I was the first one in there because I have done that. Um, 1 times 5 copy traded. I mean, it happens,
One,
right?
one, one, one.
Right.
Yeah. Um, that now it's disparaging. You can. It's like what the hell? Like, yeah. But that's the lesson. Like, it's okay. It's it's okay to lose money and to reach that. That's the cutoff. Like,
Mhm.
that's I'm preserving that's preserving capital.
Right.
And, but we've all done it. And so the lesson to learn is you don't know when these days are gonna come. I didn't hear anybody on, I didn't hear yesterday saying, "Man, we're gonna have a 1,200 point range, and
No.
it's gonna be vicious." Why?
Nope.
Because we don't know. If we knew, if there was certainty, we wouldn't have markets. Well, look at all the ones. This is awesome. So, yeah, we've all done it. The key to learning, and that's why you're here, by the way, is to learn. It's a process to learn this process. And then we go, okay, because I've done it. I said, I can't, I'm not doing this again.
Yeah.
Like I said, when it happened to me when I needed it the most, too, by the way. And and I lived about almost 4 miles from the Board of Trade, and I just walked home. And then just
Gotta
when
process what the hell just happened.
yeah, what and that's where the process of discovery comes. That like I'm not allowing that to happen. I am going to allow myself to be wrong,
Mhm.
and I'm going to have a cutoff valve. To me, it's 12%.
Yep.
So the beauty of being here at Top Step is you can do that and come back again. Um, so learn from it, and we've all been there.
Let's take a look at these markets today, and also, I saw Mohammed's point in the chat. It is normal that your performance today is different than any other day, especially if you held onto that trend. It says if your performance is the same, something is wrong. I see what Mo is saying there, and I agree with part of it. And you know, part of it I disagree with Mo because if I didn't measure for this and I took what I measured for and it's a repeated measurement, let's say I only look for 100-point trades in the Nasdaq and then I wrap it up. If I hit that and then call it a day, that's what I measured for the day. If you stuck around and traded and you kept shorting it, then yeah, 100%, right? You could have an outlier day today. Today's the type of day that you're going to have that outlier day. So I 100% agree with that. Let's take a look. Last night we had the Nvidia earnings. Last night we had the Nvidia earnings, and it all looked good with the world, right? We have the first 30 minutes. We have volume leaving that range to the upside, not super aggressive. But if we look at where settlement was, again, settlement was down here. So the market moved after hours because of that Nvidia earnings. 24,721 was the settlement. So by the time we opened for the Globex session, we were already up 1%. And then coming into the New York session open, we were up 2%. And one of the things we talked about during the opening call is this the type of day where we see the gap just continue? Or is the volume going to come in for the New York session and say, hey, you know what? This market is too high. We don't want to buy it higher. Let's take a look at that volume profile from the overnight session, Coach Paul, and then we're just going to go right into uh, the shorter time frame. Let's take a look at the New York session open. Here's your volume profile from the overnight, and we'll attach a VWAP to the New York session open. What are we seeing here, Coach Paul?
Well, first of all, we opened up what 300 higher in NASDAQ, something like that in that area, and it was solid. Now, there was buying off the get-go. And to me, what we talked about it this morning, to me, that was institutional buying because it was hot and heavy. And they got in, and it all looked good. And it was all good. There was a reason to buy it. But this is it. As more information comes, you have to react. It, you have to be flexible. Do
Yep.
not get anchored. And that is what a good trader does. This is a day where you learn to cut it off. So what was very interesting is VWAP.
Yeah.
What happened to VWAP after this? It was a very good rally overnight, but VWAP, volume weighted average price, which gives us a much better idea than just price. The volume did not follow through with the price.
Yep.
And if you're a longtime viewer, you know this one. I was talking with Code. I was so tempted to buy. I felt like I was not invited to the party.
Oh yeah. Yep.
We were talking.
This,
I'm like,
yeah.
this is a party, and what the heck? I
They
didn't
didn't
get the
invite me.
invite.
Right. That was a tough morning. This was one of those, and Coach Paul and I, we were on a call trading, and we're just like, you know what, I don't know what to do here. It feels like you have to be patient, right? A lot of times we hear Hogue say, you know, stay patient. We're in range and in value from a prior day. Better trade location comes later in the day. And that was the case for today. It felt like I didn't have anything definitive, Coach Paul. We were sitting there talking. I'm like, hey, I want to trade something, but I don't, nothing's really giving me a signal. And, there was a decent range here, still 130-point range in the NASDAQ to trade. But once we got out of that initial balance being set, then we started to get directional. And the market chose where it was going to go. VWAP never left that opening range to the upside. Price rejected a couple times. I mapped out, I just put this horizontal level here, 25,300. Might seem like an inconsequential level, but what happens at round numbers if the market doesn't trade through it? Price wise, it did. Volume stayed below. And we just failed. Now, this failure, do I know that it's going to sell off 1,200 points from that high? I don't. But back to the daily, this October 10th candle, once we identified it as a liquidation day, then it starts to seem a little bit more realistic, right? And again, that is not an easy trade to hold through. Saw some people in the chat saying, how do you hold on to a move like this? How do you sit through some of these drawdowns? I'm going to say you don't have to. Not every trader has to. If I measure for 100 points and I took 100 points, great. Did my job. If I measured for 1,200 and I took 100, different story, right? But know that if you're trying to catch this whole move, you had to be okay with a 300-point move in the opposite direction. How many dollars is that? With a
$6,000.
mini? $6,000, right? So understand that if you're looking at this chart and you're saying, how could I have held this? If you're trading with one micro, you had to be okay with a $600 swing in the opposite direction of your trade. You're trading with a mini, you had to be okay with a $6,000 trade in the opposite direction before you went. Now, raise your hand if you're comfortable with that. And if you are, great. Then you're the trader that can hold on to this entire trade.
Right there, I'll add two things to that, Coach.
Mhm.
Part of that is resulting. It's a gambling
Correct.
term called
Correct.
resulting. What you're looking back at the result and going, "Wow, I would." And I know this one. How
Mhm.
could I hold on?
Yeah.
Okay, because you know the result. Okay, but then you went back to this. You have to be playing for that. And how many times do we get this?
Twice in the last month.
Twice
But
and twice.
2
So
days
if
out of
every day
2
I'm
2 out of
looking
30
for
trading
that,
days. Correct.
I'm going to have to take a lot of losses to get this. Now, if that's part of an edge, you have to be incredibly disciplined.
Mhm.
So I mean, going back, if you're like you said, if you're, we talk about Trading in the Zone, Mark Douglas, one of the greatest books on trading psychology.
Right.
Number one, know your edge, predefine your risk,
Mhm.
accept it, and take money when it's available. Those principles are first and foremost, at least for me, and it brings success to it. Then, if you measured for it and it's available, take it. That's it. Because this is an outlier day. And if you have some information now to say, wow, and I could see that, that takes a little more experience. And someone said here, well, I just started trading micros. But even then, you have to measure it. If I think this is going to do this, I have to sell one at the lows of the day and willing to risk new highs of the day. That's really what your risk is. And if you're comfortable with that, then you can do this. But I still think especially day trading, it has to be defined because this is an outlier. It doesn't do this that often.
Right. Uh Major sell-off day. Genius Monkey says, after what's your course of action after today's sell-off? We got to find a new frame of reference, but it's just take tomorrow as it comes. So Yenny has actually anything else before we get to questions? Anything else you got on the equity charts, Coach Paul? Let's take a look, just quick look at all four. We have the Nasdaq closing below that October 10th candle. We have the S&P still inside of it, right? 65.40 was that low in the S&P. 65.50 65.50 half was the low of the day today. We have the Dow still inside that candle and the poor Russell getting ready to
Russell
tip.
wasn't having any of it.
Honestly, the Russell seems like the leader.
It is. But you know what? And well, for a reason, the 2,000 stocks, mid-size corporations. It's not weighted in tech. This is really the solid economy. This is the middle ground, and it's not doing well. And we talked yesterday. It was the first one. It's crossed the 20 and the 50. Now we turn that upside down. It looks like a bull market is coming. Now, yeah,
Right, right. We would be talking about that 200 moving average as a target, just like we
yeah.
did in natural gas, right? That looks like the natural gas chart that we just saw
There's a
hit the 200-day moving average.
there's so. And anyway, you trade each individually,
Mhm.
but the the Russell's has been the leader on the
Yeah.
downside. What did Dow look? Oh, you did do the Dow.
Yeah, Dow's trying to hold up, but again, another one under the 50-day moving average. That was the high of the day. High of the day was that October 10th candle. Um, I think all of these markets need to go ahead and test this low. We said it yesterday in the Nasdaq. We've been saying it all week, kind of. And under that 50-day moving average, there's just no volume above it right now. All the volume is below it, and today was an aggressive sell-off. Now, does that mean we pop back up? Honestly, guys, for me, today is we do the same thing we did with the October 10th candle, right? This one was actually higher volume in the Nasdaq. So now this is my frame of reference. How does the market respond to this range? Because we have a new low for October, the low 2480 in the Nasdaq, high that candle, know where 50% is, and then see how the market trades around this range. In the S&P, I'm not going to do that just yet, even though this was a higher volume candle in the S&P. This price still traded here 65.40. So I'd be looking for, again, the market's reaction to that, because that This candle is still holding for now. How would you approach tomorrow, Coach Paul?
1/2 hour at a time.
You go.
I'm looking for structure to get the structure. I'm
Mm,
favoring the sell side. Now, with a big break like this, and you don't you got to beware. It's if you're looking for this tomorrow, there's a small probability that that's going to happen.
right.
Uh, But for that to happen, what would you'd have to have some structure. Today, structure was failed buying early.
Yep.
So going back to you have to find your edge. Find your trade and don't and look for that. If you can't find it, don't trade it. To me, I think there's the chance, but that it can continue. But um, I'm I'm right down to 1 micro here.
Yeah.
What's the ATR? Look at the ATR in the daily. Just look at that on the half hour. Look at how that exploded on the
Look at that.
daily. So this
105 points now on the daily. Thank you to
and,
today.
and it's starting to me is starting to feel like March.
Uh-huh. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I could not agree with you more there.
So all I can do tomorrow is because it took me decades before I realized I don't know because I don't.
Right.
Because it's a market of uncertainty, but I have to look for structure that gives me an opportunity, some type of edge that I can lean on to take good risk and be willing to lose it.
Yeah.
With a micro, I'll have a much better chance of holding on. But my expectations are that if I am wrong, I can afford it.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's get to some questions here. Seeing some people, and also, okay, so Yenny was the first one that said, Coach Jay, after finding your strategy and following through with your plans, I experienced a loss yesterday. After so many consistent wins, that loss really affected my emotions. Uh, Kind of, I guess, asking, how do you deal with this? Uh, I used to tell my basketball players something all the time, Coach Paul, the ones that could really shoot. If you get upset every time you miss a shot, you're not going to play this game for very long because sometimes
Amen.
there's nothing you can do to control the loss. And I would have my younger brother being one of them. He might be watching this right now, actually. What's up, Josh? But he could really shoot the basketball, but he would get frustrated every time he missed a shot, thinking that there was something that he could have done to make it. He's like, I shot it with the perfect form. It felt good coming out of my hands, and it just didn't. I didn't hit it. And then he would either go to not shooting or just getting frustrated and then playing through the frustration. Get upset every time you miss a shot. You're not going to play this game for very long, right? And that's kind of what we have to remind ourselves of as traders. Sometimes you're going to do everything perfect, and the market is going to say, "Hey, we don't agree with that trade idea." The quicker we accept that there's going to be a percentage of times, no matter what we do, there's going to be a percentage of time that you're going to be wrong. The quicker you can accept that, just might mean you're closer to the next time that it's going to work out, right? Especially when we go on a win streak, we start to think that it's all in our control. The result is all in our control, Coach Paul, but it's really not, right? The only thing that's in your control is where you enter and where you exit a trade. The result of the trade is actually not in your control at all. Um, so the quicker we can accept that uncertainty and that we're operating in uncertainty every day, the easier it is to deal with losses that we measured. If those losses aren't measured because we think that I'm always going to be right, you're not gonna play this game for very long. Go ahead, Coach Paul.
Exactly. Best loser wins. That statement is best. And I love we bring that on a lot. Are you a shooter or are you a scorer?
Right.
Shooters can get flaky. You know, but I know that some shooters, if they miss the first 2 shots, take them out. I know them, they're gonna
Yep.
try and they're not gonna shoot when they're open or something, and a good shooter, a scorer will just say, "Okay, I gotta drive to the basket, gotta do something, gotta hit someone, I have to adjust." Now, in trading, executing a trading plan is paramount paramount in success. Whether it's a day like today
Mhm.
or a dead day, you have to come with the same approach.
Right.
Trade your find a plan that has an edge and execute it. I know this is so alluring. Like,
Mhm.
man, I just look at today. If I could, I want that because what we want is this to happen tomorrow. And in the
Right.
back of our minds, the demons start jumping up because that's called greed. Um, so in that, it goes back to this. You know, you might get sick of me saying it, but I'm gonna say it. Plan your trade, trade your plan. That brings consistency.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For Bubby Prime in the chat, how am I supposed to use settlement in the top step daily levels? Is that supposed to be a price where the market would want to gravitate to? Just like anything else, we say with those top step levels all the time. Those are not suggestions to take trades. The what settlement is the price that the exchange marks the market closed for accounting purposes. The way I like to look at it, if we want to keep it in simple terms, the market is green above settlement, red below settlement. And what I would say is there's no way to use it, right? Because if I tell you, yeah, the market's going to gravitate to settlement, if we're above it, then you're just going to get short into it. If you're below it, then you're just going to get long into it. I would say watch how the market responds to settlement when it gets there. Um, it is a price that we often do see the market respond to. But the way I like to look at it is if we're above settlement, we're green on the day. If we're below settlement, we're red on the day. Sometimes watching the market's reaction to that settlement price will tell you how the market feels about the day, right? If we continue to see selling at settlement, that means we're probably going to have a red day. But just like any other level, a level on its own is probably not enough of a trading strategy. But if you can put it in context to everything else that you look at, then it could give you some information.
Yeah, great point. Um, some of the Sachin
Oh yeah,
SC11P.
I see that. Yep.
So basically, we're gambling. You know, that's a great comment.
Mhm.
What is the difference between speculating or good trading and gambling?
Risk management.
Measuring risk. I think one way I put it is you don't have to be right. You have to trade right. Then gambling comes from trying to beat the odds with blind luck.
Mm,
And you know, Yanni Torres says it perfectly. Gambling has no edge. That exactly it.
yep.
Yeah, gambling is trying to have trying for luck. By the way, luck is a two-sided coin because when I went with one of my favorite blues songs goes, "If I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck at all."
Yep.
And so when we're gambling, we're relying on luck. That's not a process. That's not something that you can lean on.
Yep. Gambling is taking, we're both VIP coaches, and VIP is coming down to the end of the season, and we have some traders that are close. And I had some traders jokingly or maybe not jokingly say, "Hey, should we just full port to try to get over the finish line?" And I understand the idea of getting a little bit more assertive with your trading as you come close to the end because you want that free XFA. But I just showed my VIPs in the last session that we had during Power Hour how quickly over leverage can blow an account, right? And it's just like because when I hear somebody say full port, it just sounds like gambling, right? I'm just going to throw a 10 lot on, and it's either going to pay out or it's not, right? And that's a completely random result. Um, 10 contracts in the Nasdaq is, $3,000 loss, 15 points. That's gambling, right? Where it's just, hey, just roll the dice, and if it hits, then great, I get paid. If it doesn't, then I'm out, right? But what we're doing here, ideally, is managing your risk. That's why Coach Ray doesn't even he hesitates to call anybody here a trader, right? Because we're risk managers at the end of the day. Um, all right, and we spent a lot of time here on the equities. Anything else? Any other questions that you see here? Great conversation, great questions as always for everyone in the chat. Um, great, on a day like today, it's important to talk about this stuff. Uh,
Yeah, not that's it. But mm,
let's take a look at gold on a daily.
how
What are we
did I
seeing
lose
here?
money in gold? Oh, look at that candle. No, I lost money because I didn't have a stop in the right place.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, gold. I don't know. Both sides you talk about both sides of settlement. Kind of, I wouldn't expect gold to be this tame
On a day like today, right? Yeah.
on a day like today. Now, still holding the 20, and we're talking, and I'm going to say it again. How long can this be in this range, Coach?
Right. Go back and take a look. The last time it was 130 days.
And boy,
130
it
days
just
in the
looks
same
the
range.
same.
It looks exactly the same. 130 calendar days, 94 trading days. Right now we are at 29 calendar days, 21 trading days. It can continue to do this until it doesn't want to anymore. Uh,
Yeah, and it was a tough trade. It really, when we go to the half hour,
I love what Genius Monkey just said in the chat here. I love the gold range, no drama like the Nasdaq. Don't disagree with you. Don't disagree. And Average Josh in the chat just said something about volume and the moving averages. We're going to talk about that with gold because if you were watching slow markets last night, I had a pretty good gold short on. What are we seeing on the half an hour, Coach Paul?
from last night, wow,
Neg up a
where's
little bit.
uh, they had an early rally above the 200. I bought that.
Good trade.
I was willing to risk $100. I lost more because I put my stop in the wrong platform. I'm like, wait, what did I miss?
I'm supposed to be out here. What happened?
Yeah. So, but I would take that trade. One of the things, though, in looking at that, what's the shape of the 200 moving average, the white line?
Downslope right now.
It's downslope, and I'll probably take it again. But understand that, I mean, for everyone looking, I mean, it's downsloping. What is it? It's it's like a trend line. It needs some work to it. It needs to. What would stop this from downsloping?
New buying coming in.
Or time going
Right.
sideways, a balanced trade.
Great point.
And we're starting to get it, right? But we haven't turned the corner yet. So, and it did it a couple times. And this was hard for me, for my trading.
Yeah.
Oh, how many times we don't really see that too often with the 200. So, but what I did do is make a mistake. I didn't wait for Shanghai.
Yep. They do it every time.
Now I'm going to hand it to you on your sell. Did you wait for Shanghai?
Yeah, I did actually because I took that trade during slow markets. So that was after the Shanghai Open, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And the trade we're talking about, and Josh, this one is for you. So we have VWAP in relation to the moving average, right? We had In this case, and I liked Coach Paul's long initially because we had uh, VWAP trading above the
The
200 moving average, which looks like
and
an attempt
urgency.
had some urgency, right? An attempt to trade higher. The reason I took this short, and I'll explain this trade a little bit more here, was because what happens at whole number levels. What whole number level are we talking about here? 4,100 in gold. So if we look at yesterday, what do we have? This is yesterday's price action, right? We had let me clear off this white line for a second. We had price trade above the 200 moving average, but volume didn't, right? So VWAP stayed under the 200 moving average. So this is kind of thin air up here. It's not a guarantee that we're going to turn around, and that's why you need to have some type of trade signal or something to say, okay, the market has confirmed what you're looking for. It could be a 3-bar reversal on the 30-minute. 1, 2, 3. This could be considered late to the move, but look, once we get back under VWAP, there's still another 40 points. So today's trade was the same thing, or last night's trade was the same thing. We had volume trading above the 200 moving average, which is great, but that's just one data point, that 200 moving average, right? We also have 4,100. What did VWAP do at 4,100? In this case, it stopped. So we had similar to the 200 moving average yesterday, we had price trade above 4,100, big fat round number, but we had volume stop there. So Dakota got in long initially, right after that Shanghai open. He took this long here, solid trade. Then my thought process was, okay, if all of these buyers up here are trapped, price stops going higher and it didn't go higher than VWAP, it starts using it as a resistance, then there's a potential short there. And then 40, 44 was the target to the downside. I didn't hold it for 40, 44. I think I held it to the 40, 60s, put on a trailing stop. But that's what that trade was based on. And then we had the craziest candle I've ever seen in gold, Coach Paul. Let me see if we can go down to a 1-second chart and find where this candle is. Uh, 'Cause this was pretty insane. This is honestly the
A lot of
craziest candle.
seconds there.
A lot of seconds.
There you
All right.
go.
Nope, that wasn't even it. That was the news candle today. Oh, speaking of which, news candles, they're back. The news candle play is back. All right, so here we go. This was a $20
Oh my
1
god.
second candle.
Yeah.
$20 1 second candle. Is that it?
Sure
That's
looks
it.
like it.
Uh, no, that's not it. That's it. There we go. $20 1 second candle
What
in
was the
gold.
volume on that?
In big gold, that was 300 contracts, I believe. 320 contracts. The order book froze. My personal account platform froze. And if you watch slow markets last night at this time, you don't have to watch the whole thing. Go to what time was this? 10 or
Yeah, you
9:18.
do. You
Yeah,
do
watch the
have
whole
to
thing.
watch it
Watch the
'cause
whole
it's
thing. Hit the like button. But we talked about this trade, and me and Dakota were both like, "What the hell just happened?" Because the order book froze again. But what did we get? Got a J trade. Highest volume 1 second candle. We never closed above it. Sorry, we never closed below it. That was the low for the day. Markets are fractal, right?
seems to me that was, an error.
That's what it looked like.
Wow.
That's what it looked like. Every time we came back down there, there was a buyer right near that 50%. And again, this was a 1 second candle. Do I suggest anybody trading on a 1 second candle? I definitely don't. But it was also the highest volume 3-minute candle of the day. And once we closed above it, decent trade. Now, this is a ton of risk on this candle, but we have the option to trade micros. But yeah, interesting day in gold. And like you said, Coach Paul, range bound. Surprised to see it be so range bound today, but gold seems like it doesn't care about anything else that's going on in the world right now.
Well, it's had its moment. It's just resting.
Mhm.
But nice trade for you.
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, remind me tonight not to trade gold before Shanghai Open.
Yeah, I'll send you a text.
Thanks.
And why we're saying that, it's just, is there a potential trade before it? There is. And Coach Paul, if you look at the first 3 minutes, this is a nice trade. This is an urgency trade to the upside, first 3 minutes, right? But when that volume comes in for the Shanghai session, 8 p.m. Eastern time, it just has the potential to change things. Um, and sometimes it's going to agree. It's like waiting for the New York session open, right? Who here is taking a ton of trades before the equity open, or you usually just wait because the volume comes in. So same thing here. I got to remind myself of it all the time. It's like, oh man, good setup. It's like, wait, there's more volume coming.
Here's another thing on that we had that was 1 second. So we're
Yep,
looking, is this the 3-minute chart, right?
this is a 3 minute. Yeah,
It's there it is. That is still a J trade.
yep.
But still, I don't like the way it didn't react. I mean, it's a tough market right now.
Hmm.
It's like it's lost its energy. Um,
Yeah, it has.
and it's still giving me the feeling that we're going to stay in this range till the end of the year, which would make sense.
Yeah. Yep, makes a ton of sense to me. Lotta in the chat says you called the short and long and gold last night. Proceeded to call the high of the S&P today. You have some lotto numbers in there somewhere. Maybe I might go play. I might go play. What is the Powerball at? Might go buy a ticket.
Oh, it's less than a million. I won't play.
Oh,
I caught myself saying that to myself one time. I'm like, "What are you, some idiot? If you're gonna play, oh, I'm too good. I'm too good to take $1 million,
right.
right?" But
I could figure out something to do with $1 million. I like Dolby's joke that he said once it gets to a billion, that's when he starts playing. That's when he starts playing. There's a question here from David Lopez. How do you learn setups? Screen time. Screen time. To be honest, you take an idea, and then for me, I think what's most important, and somebody in my VIP said this today, that no matter how much another trader explains their strategy, it doesn't make sense to them unless they decide to make it make sense to them. Right. So take a concept that you hear somebody talking about that can kind of make sense to you, and then figure out how to explain that. It's like what they used to tell us in like elementary and middle school, right? When we used to do vocabulary words, you read a word in the dictionary, and then it's your homework was to put it in a sentence, put it in your own sentence. Right? How can you make that setup make sense? And for me, it's screen time over time, right? You back test and then you forward test. Uh, and it's there was one setup that we honestly that opening range trade. Uh, was it the opening range trade? The 3 minute opening range trade with volume leaving the range, price closing outside. No, when we were doing disc at the buzzer in Discord, Coach Paul, I went
mhm.
through 3 different markets and a full year each of each one of those markets.
Yes.
Literally every day, just back tested every single day. 3 minute opening range for the Nasdaq, the S&P, and I can't remember what the last market I did was, but I did a whole year of just looking at the chart for that day. What did it do? Great. And then hopefully that helps you realize it in more real time, but it is just screen time.
Screen time, and all wisdom comes from experience. I would do this. There are 1,000 trading plans out there. Do some investigation. Use your practice account.
Yep.
Start getting repetition. You can listen to Top Step TV. You can learn market profile. I mean, ICT concepts, opening range breakouts, fair value. I did, boy, GAN, Fibonacci. I mean, I've done a lot of them
Mm.
until you find out, can I execute a plan?
Right.
That's your ultimate goal.
100%. 100%. Because
Begin the journey.
there's so many YouTube videos out there. Hey, 90% win rate strategy. All you got to do is do this. But then you realize that, oh, wait, I have to do it. it's not the strategy that works, it's me. So find something that you can, to an extent, understand, you feel comfortable placing risk behind, and then like Coach Paul said, and like we said to Yenny earlier, you're gonna have a strategy, and I don't know one person that has a 100% win rate strategy day trading. Doesn't happen. So get comfortable enough with that strategy for when it works and when it doesn't work. Right? I just got a puppy, and Coach Paul knows my struggles. This puppy is he's peed almost everywhere in my house, um, and I've just accepted that that's going to be the reality of having a puppy. But I wanted it, right? So you have to take the good and the bad with your strategy. You have to take the times where it's not going to work, right? If you try to avoid losing, you're going to lose a lot. Uh, so know when your strategy doesn't work. Sometimes you're still going to try to implement it. When the market doesn't agree, manage your risk. That's what where we should all be. David learned range trading from Top Step TV. Shout out to Dolby Time. Any other markets we want to talk about? Crude oil.
Bitcoin. Oh yeah, we got to do our 5. Let's go. You got crude oil. Let's
Yeah, here in a range. All right, next, natural gas. Crude's in a range, man. Buy it below 59, sell it above 60.50. That is not financial advice. That is just what the trade has been over the past week and a half. There's just more interesting stuff going on. Natural gas. And Shubham, I saw your question. Natural gas. That daily candle look like that. It's messed up for some reason. Testing this 200 daily moving average again. Anything you see on natural gas here, Coach? Oh, that was a nice one, actually.
yeah, we hit a nice. Is that today's action?
This
Did it collapse
is
like that on the close?
Yeah, this is today's price action right here. So this was a really nice trade on both sides.
Go ahead. You got it.
So we have that 200 moving average, and back to the question that Josh asked, volume in relation to the 200 moving average. And we talked about this one during the opening call. Price came down and tested the 200 moving average. We didn't even test below it, but where was volume? It was all the way up here. So this is empty. There's a higher likelihood of a reversion to VWAP, and then this is an uptrending market, so up near that 200-day moving average, which was up here. But then what happened? And the 200 moving average on the daily was right here. What happened? What did volume say when we got up there? That it wasn't trading there
Not
either.
today,
That we
folks.
fall right back into the range. Man, this was a nice trade today.
I wonder if they were listening to us.
Probably
They,
somebody's listening.
the
Hey, if
the
you're listening
classic
out there,
they.
hit the thumbs up button. Right, that's all we ask. Hit the thumbs up button. We
That's
appreciate you being here. Like and subscribe. Take all the trading ideas that we have here. Again, they're only ideas. There's no guarantees that they're going to work, but we appreciate you being here,
wow.
whoever they
Why
are.
didn't you tell me they hit the 200-day moving average?
I think we talked about it.
Yeah, we did.
I think we talked about it.
I was just busy with other markets.
Yeah. Once the equity
By the way,
started
there's a
going,
lot of opportunity.
ton of it, a ton of it. Uh, all right, we got some questions in the chat here. We do got to look at Bitcoin. Chad says, "Why do you think the indexes went sideways the last hour of futures? They normally move during this hour." I think everyone was tired, and we kind of the last
Wow.
hour we sold off. Right? And
Yeah.
the last hour in the Nasdaq we sold off 300 points. So before that, right, the 3 hours before that where we were kind of channeling lower, I think it was just a pace thing. It's hard to sprint a marathon, but we sold off
Well,
after that. Yeah, go ahead, Coach
I,
Paul.
with that, yeah, um, the expectation after a move like that, and it's a real good question, is that
Mhm.
we would have some short covering, right? And we usually do.
Right.
No, we didn't. We actually accelerated to the downside. What would cause that? Size,
Yep.
volume, size. What entities would make that kind of size at liquidation on the close? Funds, institution, no business. That gets that tells me this market is caught. Really good point.
Okay, Chad.
It was out of its norm, because usually we see a short covering rally. So what is short covering is mostly retail getting out, day traders, profit taking, and it just accelerated. So good point. Go ahead,
Yeah.
coach.
No, Chad was talking about from 3 to 4 p.m. Central Time. Most market participants are not trading at that time, right? Top step accounts have to be closed by 3:10 Central. There's a lot less volume, so that's why after that hour, right? The markets close at 3 Central, so they do still trade, but it's a lot lower volume. And then there was another follow up question: do you expect a red or green reopen? I, and Coach Paul knows I truly want to get away from doing that. I don't know. I, I don't know. And I'm not saying that to be an ass. If I say I know, the opposite happens. Do I have the mental capacity to trade the opposite trade? Right? If I have no opinion, then whatever the market presents, then I'll trade that. But if I try to say, "Oh yeah, this is going to open green because of this," um, and Chad, there you go. I guess red continuation. What happens if the market just shoots up 500 points? Are you going to keep trying to sell it because of your guess, or do you adjust from there? So strong opinions, loosely held. Honestly, I try to go with when I trade with no opinion and just be completely objective. That's when my trading is the best. If for you that helps you with your trading and it works out, keep doing it. But I think, yeah, I want to be very careful with saying, oh yeah, this should open with a gap down or a gap up or green or red, because when the market does something else, am I sharp enough to switch to what the market is saying? Uh,
Beautiful. I love what someone else said. Is it green or red? Yes.
yeah,
But it's great insight, coach, because when we go into what it has to do, we build expectations and we anchor into that expectations in our subconscious.
yep,
I have to fight that. I told Coach Ham, I said here, I had to go through a mantra on that for many years.
mm,
I don't know.
yep. Yeah,
But
it's weird saying that. This feels like it has to be this like extreme intellectual thing where I sometimes it's how people approach it, and I think I've heard traders say, the best traders were quote unquote stupid.
it, yeah. What I will say is, I'm going to tell you right now, I would not be shocked to see this gap lower on the opening.
Mm,
I actually could see that happening, because what happens once it's closed and it's an hour in, people coming who aren't trading or investors hear this news, and you can get a knee jerk reaction like, okay, uh, so, um, but once again, if I don't have an attached opinion or a projection, it's much easier to make a decision without that burden, that anchor. I read the market, because even if it does, it's only a fraction of the information I need to make a good decision.
absolutely. JD's burnt toast. Thanks for joining again. Amazing day in the markets. Amazing day. Amazing for opportunity. Saw some traders in the chat saying, they had the biggest days they've ever had. Some traders saying I blew up multiple accounts. Um, for the people who blew up an account, if you blew the account all in one day, understand that that has nothing to do with what the market did, right? You are just susceptible to blowing an account in a day. Whether you get it right or wrong, right now, it's not about anything else that you could have read on the charts. It's about how you manage your risk. If you blow an account in a day, the market can move however it wants to. we have to, as traders, accept how much we're willing to lose each and every day. Shubham had a question. Let me get to Shubham's question. Uh, I was doing great in my XFA, and today too, I was up money. But what I observed that when I lose already earned money close to my target, it puts me on tilt. Shubham, we kind of went over that with Yenny as well. Can't accept. You're not going to make every shot. Not going to play this game for very long. If losing money puts you on tilt, you're not comfortable with the amount that you're losing, and you have to get comfortable with something. If you're not, it's going to be very hard. Trust me. I'm telling you from experience. If you can't accept what a loss looks like because you think you need to be right all the time, or you get the dopamine from being right all the time, it's going to be very hard to trade because you could do everything right and still lose a trade. If one losing trade and you said you lose money, if you earn money and then lose it close to your target, maybe try not having a set profit target for the day. And your goal should be I'm taking as many good setups as my playbook calls for, win or lose. When I set a number on it, when I say, hey, I got to make $1,000 today, if I'm at 800, I might put on the worst trade of my life trying to get $200, and the market's not facilitating that. So, you know, trade the good setups. The money is going to come afterwards.
Yeah,
Anything
we
you want to
had
add to
there
that,
was
Coach
an
Paul?
example. Was it who was it that was like literally within $10 or something of a
Yeah.
passing a combine and
Dol-
blew it
oh,
all up?
yeah. Yeah. It was Dolby. Dolby was like
Dolby,
a
yeah.
tick away, and you thought, hey, this is going to be the day I do it. I have this profit target goal, and I get it. In the combines, we do have a goal, but once you're in an XFA, let that goal go. Let it go. Let it go. Just trade the trade setups, right? Sometimes we take like a paycheck approach to trading. Hey, if I make $200 a day, and I hear that a lot, and on average, yes, on average, if you make $200 a day, you make 50 grand in a year. You know that. Don't think about it for the rest of the year. Just trade, right? Back to a sports example, the MLB, right? Major League Baseball, they play 162 games a year before the playoffs. I think that's way too much. But if on game two, if game one they win, they're like, oh yeah, we're the greatest team ever. And then game two they lose and they blow it up and they start trading all their players and start pointing blame and you get benched because of this. That's an overreaction to one data point, right? So don't overreact to one data point. And if you make money on a trading day and you don't want to give much of it back, set a loss limit. But again, nothing to do with the charts, all about how we manage ourselves. I got nothing else, Coach Paul. Uh, is Topstep going to open back up tonight? Yes, Topstep opens. You can trade your account 6 p.m. Eastern time. Anything else you got, Coach Paul, before we go?
Um, it
Oh,
was
we didn't look at Bitcoin.
yeah. Oh, good point. Genius Monkey. Should we look at out for the market does not close at the bottom of the high on weekly? Coach Jay, your opinion, please. Great quote.
Uh,
Let's look at the weekly.
oh yeah, right.
Oh, is that the
That's
weekly?
that is the weekly in the Nasdaq. The S&P, that's the week. Oh wow,
Oh wow. Ooh, yeah.
interesting.
Great point, Genius Monkey. Thank you.
Great point. What Genius Monkey is talking about there? I don't remember when it was. It seemed like years ago now. Coach Paul, we were in doing at the buzzer in Discord. He says if you look at a weekly candle, there aren't very many weekly candles that don't have a wick on both sides. Right now, this is the low of the week. We're on the lows, so kind of scroll back and look. There's one here, no wick on the low, but most of these weekly candles, what would you say, 95% of them have a wick on both sides. What does that mean for tomorrow? We will see.
Oh, the monthly too. Let's take one gander.
Ooh.
Oh, what am I owing about? I mean, if we do follow through on big, we could have an engulfing candle of 2 months, and that doesn't happen too often. That's a big. Usually, interesting.
And Real Rowboat says, but what does it mean? Going. What is it? What it means is if we're on the honestly, This is not trading advice, but what I like to do is because this could sell off, right? We could say there aren't many weekly candles that end without a wick on the low, right? This could sell off all day tomorrow, right? And if I go with the thought process, and this is where we go back to, not holding on to a bias. Hey, this has to have a wick, so that means buy. This could sell off 300 points in the S&P and then pop up in the last hour, and that will create the wick. So what it means for me is, and the way I look at it, if we're on the lows going into power hour, there's a higher likelihood of a reversal trade back to the upside. That's the only way I'm going to look at it, right? Because again, that wick, we don't get to decide how big that is. So, right. So, again, this could sell off really hard and then pop up right at the end because this looks ugly. Uh, all right. We are 5 minutes over time right now. Coach Paul, do we want to go through Bitcoin or do we want to save it for tomorrow?
Yeah,
Your,
let's quickly. What does
your
that
call.
look like, audience?
Selling
Right. Wow.
20 moving average crossed the 200 a couple days ago.
This is very heavy, and this is the story of Bitcoin. Um, it's either euphoria or despair at the edges. I think there's more despair to come. Boy, that there was no wick on the close there, but very heavy action.
Yep.
I don't. Buy it with a plan, but I mean, quickly last night we're under the 200. We had a rally. We left early. Now this did it under the 200. If we put a volume profile and look at this big move down, the point of control did not move
What does that tell you,
until
Coach Paul?
until the close.
Yep.
We saw this the opposite that happening in natural gas yesterday. It means they couldn't find any volume bids. So it's liquidation. I know this is stock money. Like there's think of it this way. You have a big imbalance. You want to. I'll do this, Coach. What's your bid
I got 5 at 100.
for?
5
You're
on
paying.
100. And
I'll
100 for
sell
5.
you. I'll sell you 100. You say I'll take only 5, and I got 1,000 to sell.
Right. I got to take all of them.
I can't find someone or an entity. It's going to be movement until there's until the close,
Mhm.
which is why this went down. But there was no bids, which to me is that's a that's the cliff, and that doesn't happen too often. Because if you look at the volume of point of control, what you would need is some volume on the downside and then let it go sideways to balance it for acceptance. And we never found it. And that
Yeah.
doesn't happen too often. That does not look good. It plays into a thesis that I'm not going to go into till tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow.
There we go. That's what you call a cliffhanger in the business. I wanted to ask you something that might have something to do with that. I saw some traders talking about it earlier in the chat. Japan's economy. But we'll save that for tomorrow.
Oh, yes.
We'll save that
All
for
right.
tomorrow. Hit that
So
thumbs up
last
button if you haven't done so already. Go ahead, Coach Paul.
My last comment is trade your plan and plan your trade.
Go. One more day to end the week. Tomorrow is Friday. Trade well, everybody. Manage your risk. Remember, Coach Hoop has a class in Discord, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Coach Robert is actually going right now in Discord. And then after that, we have Coach Rain, Coach Vince, 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Central time. Coach Dakota with slow markets tonight, 8:30 Central. And Baron's going to be joining him. No Euro trades tomorrow. London Open with Aaron is off tomorrow, as well as the Euro trade with D, because tomorrow is Friday. Trade well, everybody. Manage your risk. We will see you all tomorrow. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Bye.